Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the farm. Today we're going to do a homestead video. So everybody knows that W word's coming. That S word is coming. I don't like it, Tracy don't like it. But most important, our birds don't like it. So what we're going to do is we have 39. We're using one for the rabbit and Burton fern. So we have 39 here, shavings here. We just got delivered, so we're going to take 5 to each coop. So we got 3 coops, 2 pig areas. So we're going to take 25 over there, and we're going to throw them in there, show you what it looks like and why we do this. And we're going to add in why we do a couple other things, like waters and what we do with them, and we'll explain more when we get over there. So let's start loading this up on the ATV and let's take it over, guys. Okay, so I have the 5 for the duck house. So as you can see, there's still some down from over the summer. The babies are very chatty. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna bring them in.
I'm gonna bring you guys in closer. So.
And then cut it open. And then, as you guys can assume, just each one, sorry, really close to you, will get thrown in. So the reason why this is that they'll kick it around, they'll poop in it, they'll do the business in it, and it'll cause it to, what's the word I'm looking for, Tracy? Compost, and it keeps them warm. Now, this won't be the only 5 we put in here. We'll probably end up putting more. But for right now, we're still going through that really weird warm phase that everybody up here is saying is abnormal. So, we're going to start with 5.
And this is our second biggest coop.
Yes.
And what you see at the back there, all those open spots, that'll be plastic bin. Because you can't have grass. That's a big no-no. And we let them do all the work.
As you can see with our step in it, at the highest point, is about half a foot up. You want it there right now for them to work it up, for them to make it the way they want it. So, this is the last one. For this one at least, for now. Don't work it well.
And then we'll also add like leaves, and when the leaves dry, we'll put leaves in there.
So let me get out of your way. So for right now, that's what it looks like. All shavings, don't see the floor. That way, it's called the deep bed method. You want it about half a foot to a foot up. And just, it'll stay like that. It'll be great compost in the spring. Now the one thing you guys can probably see is missing is water. Well, the reason why there's no water in here is at night we don't give them water. One, wow, that was hot in there. One, it reduces their coughing and getting a cold and all that. And plus we put, during the day, we put apple cider vinegar in it, if I could speak. And that helps with that as well. So, Tracy has...
We'll take you over and we'll do like a little chat at Wilbur's crate, and we'll talk about this a little bit more.
So like, these finally come in handy other than cooking. So you add a little bit of that in them every day. and it helps them a lot.
You gotta have the real stuff though, not the
store-bought, or you're not doing anything.
not the Heinz brand. You have to have the one with the mother.
So that's coop 1, and we'll do that for every coop, plus the pigs. So when we're done that, we'll show you we'll do the pigs next, and we'll show you what the pigs will look like.
The pigs we're gonna do separate because we got to get straw yet.
Yes, true. So I'll do the last 2. I'll show you each coop when they're done. Show you what it looks like different, because the next one's big. So we'll show you what that one looks like, because it'll look a little different. So we'll see you guys in a couple minutes. Okay, guys. So here's the middle one. Not as deep because it's bigger, as you can see. But as it gets a little colder, we'll probably add 5 more. I scared her, so she's telling everybody. She wants to lay an egg, but I was in there bothering her. So as you can see, like I said, we'll add more. It's not as thick as we prefer it to be, like the duck house, but that'll come in time. We'll add more periodically, because this really stresses them out. And the more stressed out they become, the more it's bad for egg production, health, everything like that. So we do minimal at a time. So we're off to coop 3, the smallest one. We'll show you guys what that one looks like when we're done. So this is coop 3. I'm happy with that. Maybe 1, maybe 2 more bales. Not many more, because they're pretty deep, as you can see them in there. But that's what this coop looks like. So this is all 3 coops, what we do to start their winterizing. So next we'll go to pigs, then we'll show you what we do there, and then we'll talk about why we do each thing and how we do things differently. Okay, so we're sitting here with Wilbur, because there's a lot of people asking how Wilbur's doing. Take your coffee.
Thank you.
Well, here he is. Him and Kiba have grown an odd friendship.
Kiba likes to go in there.
Kiba loves going in there. He loves having her in there. They love to play. He's starting to finally warming up to us. Shh, Kiba. So, here he is. He's getting big. So, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about why we do what we do, and different methods we've learned over the time with winterizing. Because when we started, winterizing was a whole lot of nothing. We just said, hey, you guys live, you guys live, you guys don't, you guys don't.
Because we were greener than poop.
We were greener than goose poop.
We were.
To the point where we had 2 green layers and I flipped out because there was a green egg. We didn't know there was different colors other than white and brown. So
that was many years ago.
That was about 5 years ago. So if we can help somebody in saving their chickens or anything like that, we will.
Yeah.
So what do you want to talk about first?
So first, we're going to go over the apple cider vinegar. This is super important, guys, to give your chickens every single day in the winter. Just 2 capfuls in each water in the morning. If you live in like a colder climate like what we do or have always lived in, the snow is a great water, and they will eat the snow for water.
Yes.
But in the mornings, warm water, especially if you have ducks, because they need to clean out their bills. Our ducks are one of the very few things that get a very tiny little bit of water at night, simply because they need that water to eat their food. So, but they get a shot of this every night, and they get some in the morning as well. Deworming is super, super important for your chickens in the winter.
So with that, why? Like, it keeps down why?
It does, it cleans out their lungs, and it keeps them healthy. It stops like colds, anything like a flu, because chickens can actually get the flu.
Yes.
So if you hear your chicken rasping, like you can literally hear them rasping, even if you have turkeys. Turkey's really important to watch their raspiness. Yeah. If they're starting to rasp, you need to bring them in, put them under a heat lamp, and give them Stress Aid is what it's called here. I don't know. It's electrolytes in the States, I think.
Yeah.
Like a Pedialyte, anything like that. Give them that and some apple cider vinegar, and within a couple days it's all cleared up and they can go out. Because chickens can die from not being given those kind of things. And that's why we don't put water in the coops, because water creates humidity, which with all the chicken poop and the composting that's going on in their coops will make them sick. Don't put water in their coops. Put them in at night. And
the big thing is if they have water at night and they're nice and warm and their bodies are warm, and then you let them out to run around in minus whatever Canadian Celsius, because we only know it by this, and they are exposed to that complete cold element, it's like a human. It's something's gonna give and they're gonna get a cold.
Where our birds are always let out during the day. We may put them away at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon with their corn. We always give them corn about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It creates heat in their bodies, and when they go to sleep, they're warm. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, if you have pressure treated wood in your coops, cover it with carpet, just cheap old carpet or whatever you can get your hands on, because it will rip their fur or like their feathers right off their stomachs.
Because it'll stick to it.
It's got like a sticky texture and it'll rip the fur right off. So we actually took down trees and put them in all our coops. The last coop you guys seen has to be done for the winter, because the higher up they go, especially if you have turkeys again, turkeys want to go to almost the top of your coop because it's the warmest, and they will literally go to the top of the coop.
Yeah.
Because when we used to put them in a huge greenhouse, I'll try to find a picture of our old greenhouse, and they would go to the top of the rafters of the glass greenhouse to stay warm. So pressure treated wood is no.
Unless you have that carpet.
Unless you have the carpet on there.
Because it'll look like they've got mites. It looks like they have everything like that, because it'll be bare where they sleep, so their hind end, and it'll be pure red, so it looks like it's got mites, but that's not true. It'll be the wood sticks to it and sticks to the feathers and just gets pulled out, which if it starts to bleed could end up to some problems.
Cannibalism. It can make them sick in the winter, in the cold. So those things have to be really addressed, and not even in the summer should you really have that.
No.
If you notice, we don't really have roosts in the summertime. We want them low to stay cool in the summer, and then we roost in the winter to keep them up high to keep them warm. So we take out the roost. It sounds silly, but when it's like 30 and 40 degrees and it's hot,
and you'll know
you don't want them up high, because it can kill them. So let's talk about why we don't put straw in a coop.
Straw goes to our pigs. It's hay, straw, whatever. It's a food source for them, but it's also a good bedding. They'll put it into a big circle and they'll sleep in it. They'll put it on top of them. Reason why we don't put it into a chicken coop. It sounds stupid, but it's a really smart thing. It took us a while to learn it. Straw and hay and all that have mites on it that aren't good for chickens. That can make them have scaly legs, which if it goes to the entire flock could
it's a nightmare, guys.
Could be detrimental to your flock. There's some things that we won't do. We learn.
Keep up. No.
It's only Wilbur. We learned that the hard way to get rid of mites. It's daily in olive oil and Vaseline rubbing every day, and it's.
Cody actually bought a rooster with mites once, and we didn't. We knew what mites were, but we didn't catch it in time, because Cody had just bought the chicken, put it in. He didn't do it the way it was supposed to be done.
He didn't introduce them.
So it became a whole thing. So that chicken. It took us almost 6 months to get rid of those mites out of our flock.
Yeah.
And once it got into that straw, you got to literally take everything out of your coop and almost set it on fire, because getting rid of mites, guys, is
hard.
It's and it just stays. It never goes away. It's crazy. So
that we learned is a no-no. Now, if you like doing it, we can't tell you not to, but that's our opinion.
We don't put heat source in our coops. They keep each other warm enough. You don't need a heat lamp in your chicken coop. That is something you do not need. It doesn't matter how cold it gets. That's why they huddle. Yep. Heat lamps cause fires. You
can look it up. We've
had friends that have lost entire flocks.
Yeah.
Because they were like, well, it gets really cold. I'm going to put a heat lamp in there. And they, are sitting in their house, and all of a sudden they hear screaming, and it's their chickens dying. Or a friend of mine had a real big turkey flock, and she put 6 heat lamps in there to keep them warm, and they all caught fire because the wood chips heated up, and it just becomes flammable.
Because those heat lamps are hot.
And the poop causes, it's composting. So that's what gives your chickens heat in the wintertime. That's why you do the deep bed method. And too, if your hydro goes out for any length of time, your chickens are used to having all that heat. They will die because they're cold.
Their acclimation isn't proper. Yeah. Now, there are birds you can get that are winter hardy, like the Brahma, Cochins, ones with feathered legs. What we do is, when they're little, we expose them to cold, and then they winterize themselves. That's the best thing for them. You winterize them, especially in Canada. We get stupidly cold, -30, -40 at times.
There's even parts of the States that get.
There are parts in the States that are -30, -40. It's just, they can survive. You guys seen how cold it was in the last farm. We were out there. You've seen the thick layer of ice in the water, and you've seen the turkeys and all that huddling together. You guys have seen it. We've preached about it before. We don't believe in heat lamps inside their coop. Now, if you do it, then you do it. Just letting you know, it's a risk of a fire. 100% risk of a fire. Not saying it's going to happen. That's why we're saying risk. But you're giving it a good 50% more of a chance for a fire to happen if you have a heat source in there.
So that's why we don't use straw or hay in our chicken coops. We don't use heat lamps. The chicken poop is more than enough. Ventilation is huge in a chicken coop. As long as they're vented, the smell of the chicken poop goes out, because that ammonia smell can, if you don't have proper ventilation, it can cause them to keel over.
She's cleaning his snout.
They're a weird couple, let me tell you.
She's cleaning his snout.
They love each other.
Okay, so we've touched on this briefly.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into it a little bit more. It's to do with winter as well. So we have 3 different kinds of squash?
Yeah.
3 different kinds of squash and pumpkin. If you can believe, this is pie pumpkin.
It's Amish pie.
It's Amish pie pumpkin.
These are all grown organically
by the Amish. So the seeds, number one, 100% we give to our chickens, because it's a natural dewormer. We will do this once or twice a year.
Twice a year. Well, when we can get them.
When we can get them, we'll do it twice a year. When fall hits, let's keep it. And then right before the big snowfall. Reason why, because chickens can't really deworm themselves. Pigs can. So really don't. The pigs love the taste. Chickens, it's just for deworming. Because then they won't eat as much, because their worms are eating their food, and it's just a natural thing to do. So we give them one of these, and probably one of them. We kind of spoil our chickens way too much some days. And then that's why we do with that. Like, it won't hurt them to have the worms. They'll get really skinny, may die, like every other animal. But we try to make sure that we avoid that because
we've had it happen.
We've had it happen.
Focus.
Sorry. And so we do that.
Yeah, so we deworm our chickens simply because we want them healthy, and in the spring, it's their hardest time. Right now, they're finishing up their molt, which is good because it's getting colder. Yes, we're having a heat spell right now, but next week it's not going to be a heat spell.
It still gets really cold, almost 0 at night.
Yeah. So what we do. And then what we do with our chickens is we actually look at every single chicken before the big cold starts, and we inspect their feet if we have to. We blue coat their feet. We blue coat combs if we have to, and it's like a Band-Aid to keep them from being frostbitten.
Yeah, it's a spray-on Band-Aid.
And like we have one of our silkies in there, she needs to be done. Her feet need to be done, so it's Epsom salts, hot water, and we clean her feet, dry them really well. The other thing we do is we have a sick bay in the barn. We've always had sick bays. What that is if a chicken does become sick, or a turkey or a duck, they are brought in, they are put under heat lamp in the barn, or in our house even. We've had many times in our house.
We've had a full-grown turkey in our house once.
Like I said, you give them electrolytes and all that kind of thing, ferment their food, whatever you need to do to keep them alive.
Porridge.
I've made a lot of batches of oatmeal in minus 40 weather to give them that hot meal in the mornings. I think we actually have a bear moving around over there. We're going to have to be careful. So, anyways, that's what we do to keep our flock really super healthy. Deworm, check their feet, deep bedding method. Anything that we can do, we're doing. Because these chickens cost a lot of money to feed, raise, and keep going. So, it's just those are the things that we've learned over the many years that we've raised chickens. And the more chickens really you can put in one coop is better for them. I have too many turkeys. I have to freezer camp a couple turkeys. So we can't separate them like we would like to. But so I wish we could put all the coop 1 and 2 together, but I can't do that because I have too many turkeys.
Dominance of males.
That's if all you have are females, then put them all in one coop.
Because if you put 2 dominant males that have never been together, you're asking for some trouble.
So, anyways, guys, that's our winterizing our coop video. Why we deworm. Why we do what we do. But
it seems like a lot, but as you get into a rhythm of it, it becomes natural. Like, we come out every day, there's the water, we have the apple cider vinegar, we put it in, we feed them, we give them a scoop of corn because it helps them. Then we give them their food. At noon to 2, we give them their dewormer, and then we at 4:30, 5 o'clock, because it's getting dark at 5 now. Like, I don't know when that happened. We start putting them away to bed. It's a natural go. And it takes some time to get into it, because you're like,
I did forget one thing. We do put plastic pools in all the chicken coops with dirt, DE, and from our wood stove, wood ash, and we mix that all together, and it's their dust bath for the winter. I did forget to say that.
DE is diatomaceous earth. That's another natural dewormer.
You have to get the food grade, though.
Yeah, food grade. Key. That's a natural dewormer that vets will even suggest doing.
We put that in our pig feed and our chicken feed every day. Our dogs even get it.
Yep.
So I just forgot to mention that. See, as you guys grow and you guys keep doing this, it's just you actually forget steps. So
you forget to mention the steps, but you don't forget to do it because it's just like I said, it's just natural. You just go with the flow and you add it. in.
If you guys can't afford wood shavings, because they are fairly expensive, gather leaves. Ask your neighbors for their leaves. Put leaves in there, and it'll do the same thing. So if you can't afford the wood shavings, do not freak out.
No, lawn clippings,
clippings, grass, anything. We literally put everything in our coops, and it keeps them busy all winter because they want to work that.
They'll scratch it up. They'll make it into beds.
And then you will have phenomenal garden beds next year, because once you scoop that all out in the spring, which is, wow, it's stinky in there.
Yes.
They will then recompost that for you. That's why it's nice to have a few chickens on your homestead, simply because of the work that they do.
They do a lot of behind-the-scenes work. So yeah, you just need lawn clippings, pine needles that are dry, anything dry. Like that. Anything will do.
Yeah.
So don't go, well, they said at Tomorrowday you have to get shavings. No. This is what we do. We spend the money on it. We do add
I always add,
and we add all that throughout the year, so it helps more. Because if it's a rainy day or they're out in the rain all day because they're stoogey and don't want to go in, it helps.
But yeah, just leaves are fantastic in your coops. I will be doing that. I have a huge pile already started. I just need to empty the trailer to move them in, and then we will put a whole bunch of leaves in there as well. They're just too wet right now for me to do that. But I go and I cut weeds and I cut whatever, and I throw it all in there.
We've been working on the back pasture to start that, because that's all good stuff to throw in there. It gets them busy, it gets them food, gets them nutrients.
And they pick at it, so it's good for them. We'll even throw like tree limbs in there, and they'll pick at that, and they'll eat the bugs off the tree limbs. Like, whatever you can do, just throw it in there. They will survive.
Yes.
Chickens will survive.
Chickens are very resilient when it comes to things.
So I apologize, guys, if this video is a little bit long, but it's super important. This is what we've learned over the years. We will link a book, a couple books actually, that is really, really good. Storey's Guide to Chicken Raising. Phenomenal book.
Yes.
If you're greener than goose poop like we were, and you don't have anybody to kind of rely on for your area, check out this book. We will try to link it in the description box. And if you're an urban homesteader, there's another really good one called Backyard Homestead, I think it's called. We will try to link that one. We have that book too.
Yeah.
We have books, guys.
We have a lot of books for every animal we get.
We research hard for all the animals that we get. So I'll try to link them all down in the description. If you're interested, just click on the link. We're not affiliated with anybody, so it's just something to help you guys out. But thanks for hanging out with us today, guys, and we will see you super soon.
Any other questions, leave it down.
Yeah, and
don't forget to hit subscribe, hit the like button so we know
what you are and are not liking. So more canning videos coming up, more cooking videos coming up, lots of stuff coming. See you guys soon. Bye.